Well, everybody, the big storm coming today. Look at me and my New Holland boiler shit. Don't ever tell anyone that, but listen, we're putting up a little bit of a video, a completely different style of a video. It's just myself and Dave Kennedy having a chat up in the Fastrac about all things to do with health, fitness, mental health, etc. And we're talking about what he does with his brother and how their business is helping to transform the lives of typically farmers, guys working to contractors, high stress situations, too much saturated fatty foods, and sometimes and maybe too much of the old alcohol, etc. So how you can look at coping with stresses, life, etc. So I hope you enjoy that video, and it's just different. It loses the flamboyant style, but it's just a nice steady watch. It's a bit like a podcast from inside the Fastrac. Keep her lit. Hold on. Technique. Less is more. That's what she said.
No, brute force sometimes does not do it.
Take you them old muscles of yours and go somewhere else with them.
Even though it just doesn't work sometimes.
Dave, we're at Achiol. Achiol, and we've jumped up into our 8330 to grab a chat. I've turned the key on and got the aircon going.
Thank God.
It's warm right there, boy.
It's warm.
But we just wanted to grab a chat with you because I've been following you really probably since you've got into. I don't know if have you always focused on farmers?
Well, I'll tell you, with the last probably 2.5 years, you could say, myself and Mike made the decision. We're always doing lifestyle, and one day we looked at our client base, and a majority were farming. Or if there was female clients or male clients, their grandfathers could have been farming. It always kind of came back to the farming sector, and look, for I suppose a good 3 or 4 years we've been always thinking and just half afraid of taking the risk, to be honest, Garrett, of making the jump, saying, Jesus, would it work, or will I just go all in?
But that is the biggest.
Yeah.
That is the number of businesses that don't start due to that fear.
Absolutely.
Is unbelievable.
Yeah. And it just took the first video of us talking in a farmyard, and I was talking about oversized jumpers. I won't forget it, and it just went very well. And ever since, everything has just got better, because now I feel like I'm talking to my own all the time. Which it was like that anyway, but it's like an AGM now. Every time you meet someone, we're all cut from the same cloth, and I can see myself in every one of our clients that comes on board and people I talk to every day, and it just makes the whole, I suppose, purpose of what we're doing so much better, if that makes sense.
And to cut to the chase to the GRASSMEN fans here, when you talk about growing your business, I'm going to say, to me looking in, I look at you more as a lifestyle coach. I know maybe some people will see you as like a fitness instructor, or which you are, or someone to help lose weight, but I look at the message that you're putting out more on a different level, if that makes any sense. But
I'm glad you're seeing it. I do see that too.
But if I was to ask you to ABC your business, because at the end of the day you're making videos, I like watching your videos. How does Dave, and it's Michael, isn't it?
Yeah, Mike.
Dave and Mike. And how do you turn that into a few quid? So how does Dave make a few pound? How does this work?
So basically,
and ABC it.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm glad you said it, because it's actually personal development we call ourselves. We don't call ourselves weight class fitness or anything anymore, because we're focused mind, body, and life, really, to be honest. So we kind of focus on the real day-to-day that we all experience, because look, through my own journey, I done the food and training, that down to a T, down to the gram, got in great shape and felt very unfulfilled. And to be honest, and I was losing 8 stone, changing the body around, doing the photo shoots and all that carry on, right? And was very unfulfilled, and I was like, Jesus, this cannot be right. This cannot be right.
He's one of them, He walks around with 50-inch TVs and below his arms like this here. Right, here, fair play to you.
The farmer's walk, But honestly, the real journey, look, it's 12 years in the making, you could say. The real journey started when I started working up here. We're 7 years working in the mindset, I suppose, throughout my journey. And that's what we put together. We put together mindset, the food, awareness, but absolutely everything. How we get someone to understand themselves, how they respond through, God forbid, grief or machinery or springtime harvest, the day-to-day stresses that we deal in the farm. Because we all know how to deconstruct, Garrett. You know, if something happens or you're in bad form, you're tired, you go for the convenient food, or you know, you break up with a girl or fight, you go on the bee, or like, we all know how to do the bad things, but we know in the long run it doesn't make us feel any better. What we really tried to do, and I had to learn for myself in my own journey, is show people how to make the right decision. Even though it might be harder in that moment in time when the emotions are high, it's actually so much worthwhile in the long run. And that shows how to show people how to actually change their identity. You know, as like I was saying to you earlier, I am someone lost all the weight, but I was still 22 stone Dave in my head. So I still thought, like, what would 22 stone Dave done? So when I got stressed, I turned to food. I'd be still half ashamed of going into pubs. The confidence was still quite low, even though I was in shape. All this kind of stuff. And I was like, this can't be right. And that's where the mindset really comes in. So we work the body with the mind. And look, just to come back to your question, how does it work? We do it over the space of 12 months. Why? Because you're not going to change your life in 52 weeks, if I'm being honest. If you, for example, have had bad habits for 20 years, right? That's, I think we won't do the maths, it could be roughly around 1,000 weeks, right? Yeah. 52 weeks over 1,000 weeks doesn't really add up. So it takes time. So we do it for the minimum of 12 months, and we show people how to go through, for example, the farm year, the farm season, whichever farm enterprise you're in, how to go through the busy times and the quiet times. So sometimes when you can actually get some exercise in, and then those times like springtime or the harvest, that you won't have time to piss, you know? And we have to show that that's okay too, that there has to be a little bit of pushing and pulling it to have it right.
And if you want to see some of the journeys that we're talking about, so you work a lot with a guy called Sean Collins.
Yeah, Sean.
And he's very, very popular on TikTok and that, but there's always videos of you in with Sean and you're talking about his journey as he's going through. Absolutely. And he's running a very busy contracting business. But I enjoy watching him because, well, one, I'm friends with Sean, and two, I can relate to the journey that Sean is on. Yeah. So it's a challenge because you're trying to balance food, you're trying to balance the mind, you're trying to balance rest, you're trying to balance the body. Yeah. And if you're busy, and you know, different people have different levels of, you know, stress. So tolerance, within my business, when you're the boss man or whatever, you've a different set of stresses and pressures to work through than maybe some of your staff. Yeah. There's different periods of time where, you know, I've seen me at shows where all my staff are buzzing and getting on, and yet with all I'm feeling quite lonely. Yeah. Because there's maybe something in your head. For sure. And, you know, I've been on a weight loss journey over the last 8-9 months. We've lost 8 stone. Incredible. We know we have a lot more weight to lose medically, but we've done well. But, you know, I sometimes think mentally I'm not prepared. And I lost it all years ago. Yeah. But I did exactly what you were saying. I am that man. I could never see that I had lost it. I could never love myself for losing it. Yeah. So when things get tough, I resorted back to the bad habits, peanuts, crisps.
Back to what we knew.
Back to what we knew, back to where the comfort was.
Absolutely. So, whole identity, as I say.
And I can never understand, because I would count myself a very, very strong-willed, strong-minded person. Me too, yeah. Weaknesses creep in.
They do.
So how do I not let that happen this time? How? Because I can't. I'm 43. I let myself get to the size that I was. I've lost a good bit of weight now. Medically, I need to lose a lot more. We're not arguing with that. But how can I ensure that I don't let myself go back into self-destruct mode? How?
It sounds very cliche.
I'm not paying you now, but how?
It sounds very cliche, right? But you have to learn how to love yourself again. And that sounds a bit deep and a bit woo-woo for people. Are like, geez, what does he mean by that? But it's like I was saying to you earlier, when I lost all the weight, 8 stone, I done the photo shoots, I had the 6-pack out, the whole lot, right? And a woman said to me, a mindset coach, she said, Dave, you don't love yourself. And I was like, what do you mean I don't love myself? I'm after doing the masters, I have the weight loss gone, I'm after doing photo shoots, you know, I have all these boxes ticked that most people don't. What do you mean I don't love myself? She just said to me, tell me 3 things you love about yourself. And I couldn't answer. I was sputtering and splittering and I couldn't answer her. But then she said, look, okay, tell me 3 things your best friend would say about you, like, well, that's a bit easier. You're talking in third person, and that opened my eyes, or maybe this woman is right. I have everything there, but I still can't see it in myself. And that comes from self-love and appreciation. And this is where it comes back to working the mind with the body as you're going through the change. Because the physical change will happen. The important one is the mental change. It's knowing that you're aligning and you're in parallel sequence of change with your body. Because like you just went through, as I went through, it's a roller coaster of emotions otherwise. It's like you said, life happens and you go back to your old identity, your old ways. For me, you know, when I lost the weight, it was back and forth. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It was
Reservoir Dogs.
Oh God, you could have a great couple of weeks, and then you could have a bad week, and then you could binge for 2 or 3 days, and you're like, God, and then you're beating yourself up, and you're low, and you're, why did I do that? And it's constant anxiety. It's anxiety, if you ask me. It's back and forth.
You're saying there, but what happens, and this is where young lads and lassies will be like, oh, but that's all right for him.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And that could be business separation.
Yeah.
Woman separation,
whatever it is,
wife separation.
Absolutely.
It could be just family issues.
A new baby, yeah.
Baby or grief. So how, whenever they say the proverbial hits the fan, how do we take control? So, you know, because most people can start a journey, whether it's weight loss, and to a degree be successful up to a point.
Yeah.
Then they get a curveball. The woman leaves them.
Something happens. Environmental change.
Happens, and then they're, I don't want to go out. I don't want to do this. I
The
don't
emotions
want
are
to be
high.
there. How do we stop, control, and I always say, and rebuild?
Yeah.
I always talk about resilience. That's what's brought
Yeah.
me through life, of great
Absolutely.
resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would have been the very same as you. Go, on or off, right? I could never find balance. And when I started working on the self-love and appreciation, that's where the balance came from, to be honest with you, Garrett.
Yeah.
And when you're balanced, the emotions are controlled. So you build the tools in the toolbox. So, like I said, environmental changes. It's exactly like you said earlier. How you respond, you'll respond not emotionally, you respond logically. But you can only respond logically when you appreciate yourself, right? It's when you're always leaning on something else or validation from something else, or I'm doing this. There's no logic there, it's all emotional. And that's why we tend to go back to our old ways, because we never done any of the work on the mindset. You have to create that balance.
So it's like, it's, as you say, you're learning to love yourself. So you're learning to say, yeah, this is bad. He has left me, or whatever. But I'm a good man.
Yeah, you're back.
I'm a good woman.
You know who you are.
I can get better. I can be better.
It's like this, right? It's like one mindset with the low frequency would be like, it's me. What did I do wrong? She left me. It must be me, right? But when you value yourself, it's like, I know who I am. That's on her. But all I can do now is focus on me, not focus on the loss of her, is focus on me. And what can I do right now? The tools in the toolbox. The food will actually bring the energy up, right? I might be a little bit low. I understand that I'm going to be a little low. That's just natural, because you have to come out in an environment that you're used to and routine and all that good stuff, right? But the difference is, when you look at yourself differently from a whole, you will see things differently.
Yeah.
And that's the most important. And that's the kind of the transition I say is, our whole identity will believe the BS that what we think. And that'll put us back into our old ways, because that's what we would have reverted to before when tough things happened. And that could be 20 years of that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just change overnight. Like, that's where you build it, and that's why our program is minimum of 12 months, because there's plenty of ups and downs the farm year in 12 months. That's the difference. There's plenty of ups and downs in the season, springtime, you name it, lambing season, whatever it is. There's plenty of misfortune, up and downs, and how we respond is what's important.
And that's before these environmental changes come in, whether it's a car crash or ill health,
God forbid, God forbid.
or whatever happens.
100%, and that's why farming is a stressful job as it is, you know. And the difference is, from a food perspective, and this is what I've learned from working with probably 2,000 or 3,000 clients now over the years, is that we're all very similar, and it's how we've been reared. Everything happens around the table in the farming household. The planning happens around the table. the laughing happens around the table, the grigging, the fighting. It all happens around the table. So when something bad happens to us, we go for that safety, and that's food, right?
Yeah.
So for God forbid, during the springtime you lose two heifer calves, you'll more than likely come in pissed off and you'll eat the full packet of biscuits, right? But if you've had a great day, you'll probably eat 2 biscuits. That is the difference. And there'll be lads listening to this like, do you know what, I done that. You know what I mean?
All the digestives, they're down easy with it, dipping them in the tea.
Oh, Jesus.
But you know, so if I say to you, right, I'm sitting here now, I've lost 8 stone. My plan was to lose 2 more stone,
Yeah.
increase the energy,
Yeah.
find we're leveling off as again,
Yeah.
bring my energy back up. This is kind of in my to-do list. Try and work out where maintenance is at that point.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then make that decision. Do I need to cut further into, you know, for optimum health or whatever? And in doing that, you're telling me to love myself a little bit more
Yeah.
for doing it. But understand that yes, when times are tough, rather than resort back to the old ways that I would have dealt with it a year, 2 years ago, is to understand I've came this far. You know, I've done well. Yes, this has happened. Yes, this is crap. But you know, I've done nothing wrong.
100%.
I'm a good man. Let's level this off. And you say to write it down.
Write it down, because, and I was just going to say to you, you know, we can say all this stuff, right? It doesn't stick. The only way it sticks, you have to work your brain like a muscle in the gym. You have to work it every day. And look, the biggest thing I've learned through working with mindset, talking to someone for an hour every week is fine, you're just debunking, right? But if you're not getting tools like trainings to do it for yourself, when you're at home, you'll learn nothing. You're just talking to someone once a week, right? You have to build the tools in the toolbox. That's what I mean from the tools. We give you tools of what you need to do on a daily basis. So you're writing it down, you're like, right, geez, today was a great day, everything went well. And you'll have that for yesterday. But then, God forbid, something could happen. Now, machine could break down, the truck up the road, you're up to another show, and it's just a disaster. So tomorrow's going to be totally different, right? But once you can write down what you can control and say, look, this is what I can focus on, this is what I can focus on, but this is what's one thing I can do right now to make sure I'm in the right place. You're talking to your logical mind, and it's coming down on paper, right? Because when you keep it all up here, it's full, it fills, and you're like, you can't see out of it. You have to train that, and that only comes with time. Working the brain, the journaling, the different actions, putting down gratitude every day, because when you're low frequency, like you told me, like look a little bit worn down and tired from all the shows and the going.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't see the good. We don't see, geez, I have a roof, or, you know, the little bit of gratitude there that we have.
Yeah.
That's very, very important, because it brings up the environment, because frequency is what you frequently see. And if you're low doom and gloom, like, oh geez, the weather's bad, big drive up the road, no, today I'm tired, you believe it. We have to
100%.
We have to break it. We have to snap it.
And I pride myself over the years of being that man.
Yeah.
And this is the 15-year journey of GRASSMEN, and that's why we did this tractor this way.
It's incredible.
Is that when we come in here and we look across that bonnet and we are struggling with our day, that reminds us
100%.
it's okay not to be okay. And I'm trying to help guys normalise talking.
Being open.
But I do get what you're saying. If I was to write down a few weeks, I mean, if you were to ask me, give me your picture of all your shows you did in the UK this year, Garth. So you're absolutely shattered from coming home from them.
Yeah.
They were warm, you're tired, you're living in the lorry. But how did they do compared to last year? And I tell you, well, they were all up.
Yeah.
There's a positive.
There's a positive.
So if I'm sitting deflated and I'm looking back through my journal, I'm going to see show day was tough today. It was 32 degrees, absolutely melted, but the crowd was buzzing.
Yeah.
The support for us was buzzing.
Yeah. And that's why I always put down with the journaling 3 things you're grateful for. And I always get people, 3 people to do it at the end of the day, right? Because if you do it in the morning, you'll say, oh, look, my family, the dog, the roof over my head, all the generalised stuff, right? The end of the day, something might happen that day. Say you met a man, you had a good chat with him, and you've done a good deed, and geez, I'm very grateful for that today.
Yes.
And that changes how the whole day goes, and it gives you perspective. And you're going to bed saying, Jesus, I feel good.
But I suppose if you were to spend the time and write it out, and you were to look back and you were to go, say you had one underlying problem,
Yeah.
and every day, doesn't matter how long you would write about it for, if every day you were writing about this one underlying problem, it's there, it's this, it's the other. But if you're able to look in and go, business was good, we got a good head start on this, and then
Exactly.
you know, and you're reading back and you're going, well, I'm tired, but we did good. We met a lot of people. We held that baby. You know, we did different things.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute here. Do you know what? There's one problem, maybe one underlying problem every day here.
But there's a lot of positive.
And maybe I don't like writing though.
But you know what you can do? There's loads of different ways. You can have WhatsApp, you can voice note yourself, and you can talk to yourself, and you can get it to write or do ChatGPT and talk it out on the voice note. But for me, I'm old school, and if pen to paper is actually a powerful energy. If I write it down, the technology doesn't really do it for me, if I'm being honest. But look, everyone is different. If I write it down on pen and paper, it feels like it's out of my head, if that makes sense. Do you know? And that's the way I do it. I'm a bit old school, but look, we've lads do it so many different ways. But it's doing that and it's the compounding effect, Garrett. That's the change here. It's not, oh, if I do it for a week, I'll be fixed. No. It's you go through the month, 6 months, and then you start to say, Jesus, I didn't journal there for 2 days. I was a bit edgy. I need to get back journaling. That's the value. Because
that's how I feel this week about the gym.
Yeah. 100%. But like we're talking about, you feel like Jesus, and you know how the head is when you go to the gym. It's a bit better. Things are a bit better, and when you're not, you're a bit edgy. The journaling for me is, I say, you need to put pen to paper like you brush your teeth, and if it takes 5 minutes, if you give, and you're talking to a farmer here, and when I was told this, like, I don't have 5 minutes for doing this crap. Like, talk about my feelings you've had, right? But the difference was, Garrett, I saw the value in it, and that's why I preach it every day now, because this is what farmers need. This is what busy lads need. That are going through whatever in life. They need to process it, you know? And that's the difference. And it's like you said, when we were talking about the relationships there a little bit ago. It's like, you get out of that relationship, you're low frequency, all you want to do is want her back, you want to do anything to fix it and the whole lot. You're in a place of lack, right? Because your routine is gone. That whole thing is gone. It's shaken up. And you have to adapt to a new routine. But when you start to work on yourself and back yourself and be kind to yourself, the energy starts to raise, the frequency, the gratitude. You're like, geez, I'm not that bad. A month will go by, maybe 6 weeks will go by, and then you're starting to feel better, and you're like, do you know what? Now that I look back at things, there was a couple of things there that didn't really work for me. Maybe it's not a bad thing that it broke down. You know, maybe it just wasn't supposed to work. But you can't see when you're in the moment. It's like when you're feeling this right now, you can't see it till you go back at the end of these shows and you look back at the year and say, that was a great season there now with the shows and everything, and it was fantastic. We met ABC and we talked to someone and it was incredible. You know, you really helped people. That was well worth it. You know, and that's what we're looking back on.
And but life does.
Absolutely.
Life does suck that out of you sometimes. And that's the challenge. And as I always say, the one thing I'm very happy and blessed that my parents put into me was resilience. That yes, I often say it's okay to kneel and have a cry. But then the next day you get back up, you lift your sword and you carry on.
100%. No, 1000%. And just while you're on that, you know, you think that you have it all figured out. You know, people, like you said there, people might say, oh, sure, that fella has it all figured out and knows everything. And I have the tools, and I have all the tools. Back in December, I lost my mother, tragically, right? We about 2 days' notice, to be honest. And I'm using all them tools I've learned over the years again, going through grief again. And what I'm trying to get at, this is not a feel sorry thing here. This is just to show people that life will throw spanners at you. Doesn't matter how good you're going, it will test you. But the most important thing is having them tools there so you can respond in the correct manner. Because when I lost my sister in 2010, I responded the wrong way. And that's where all the weight gain came and all that stuff, you know. And this time is different.
That's a tough one. Very sorry, by the way.
Yeah, thanks very much.
This is tough, but it's real. So 2010, 25 years, or 15 years ago, when the year we started,
21st of January,
You lost your sister.
At 19 in the car accident,
I am aware, but not everybody's going to. I am aware of this story because I've watched enough of you to understand that totally messed you.
Yeah, look.
That's the truth.
Oh, listen, this is why I'm here today, Garrett. I never planned to be a coach. I never planned to do any of this stuff, I'll be honest. You know, I don't ag science.
So,
You know, I wasn't planned. If you told me back 15 years ago that, Dave, you will be a coach helping people, you know, I would have said, what wacky tobacco you smoking, you know. You know, but that turned our lives upside down.
You
And
lost
turned our
your
families.
way.
Yeah, yeah. And I turned to food.
You hit the food.
Yeah.
Dear knows what else.
Yeah, and I went from, you know, I was 16 stone, hefty, but hard working, milking 85 cows at home. We were running a pub as well, and they turned our lives upside down, and I went from 16 stone to 22 stone in a very quick space of time.
And you lost the weight.
Yeah.
But you still didn't feel right.
No, that's where the mindset really.
You worked on your mindset.
Yeah.
You then thought, I can do something here to help people.
Yeah.
You then suffered more loss.
Yeah, just gone, yeah.
Just gone past there.
Yeah.
But with your changed mindset, and this is going to sound horribly worded, but has it been easier? And I don't want that to, this is your mother here, I really...
No, absolutely, and I know, look, and I try to get this across sometimes as well. I like to say now, I hate saying it, this is not our first rodeo, unfortunately, right? And the difference is, I know what I done to mess it up the last time, but I have the work and the tools done of what we know how to do now, right? But you know, the funny thing about it, Garrett, is it's like allowing myself to grieve. This might be a little bit deep for people, but it's allowing myself to grieve now, because at the end of the day, the house is totally different. The main foundation of our house is gone. Look, any farming household or country, any household, your mother, the woman in the house is what holds everything together.
100%.
You know, and it's trying to adapt to that loss, you know, and I haven't went wrong, or the food has been good, and there's been plenty, there's been slips. We are human.
But
right?
but that's okay.
That's okay, because
back to this.
Yeah.
It's okay not to
Absolutely.
be okay, but the last time, the first time, you slipped off into a world that made it all about you.
Yeah.
You turned. You did this,
and I say this in and anyone that goes through grief, I wish someone could tell me this, is that you didn't die, and we make it like we did die. And this is very hard to listen to, right? And if someone told me this when I was going in the depths of it, I probably would have hit him as flake, right? But I wish someone can take this on board, say, you should need to think about this, that they're still with us and they're looking over us, and the bad habits that we're doing, or you're eating yourself into an oblivion, or drinking, or whatever the poison is that you're doing that you think is making you feel better. What would your mother think if she's up there, or what would my sister think? That's what I think about now, because they would not want me to go backwards. And that's all I think about. If I think I'm going to slip, I was like, they're here. If I told them what I was doing right now, what would they be for it or against it? And I say that to my father every day as well, because look, he's going through it, and we're all going through it. And it's to make the right choices. And the easy choice is to go on to drink or eat and just don't care about anything, and this is life, and we make it about us. We make it selfish. It's bigger than us, Garrett.
But the tools have helped.
The tools are the making of it. And that's why I talk about this stuff every day, and this is everything. This is everything, you know, and it's having enough tools and toolbox through. And the only way you learn to get the tools is you're going through it in farming, or you're going through an event, or what you're going, like you're going through right now, is you learn how to respond and say, Jesus, right, I could have responded better, but I responded 75% good. It wasn't 100, but it wasn't backwards. And that's learning. You're learning. That's why I call it weight loss, personal development. It's never a destination, it's a journey. Because you're learning as you go through every stage of life, or every stage of business, every stage of whatever happens to you. It's a journey, and you're learning through it. But it's very important to learn the tools, because, as I said, we all know how to deconstruct, unfortunately. That's just the way society has showed us, you know. You've been through a bit of a journey yourself. You've lost over 8 stone. Tell me, what's life been like in terms of your fitness, and how things are since you've lost the weight?
Well, I took up a bit of running, and I did a lot of talking with Sean Collins about it, the leg of the marathon. And on my first day out, I made 0.93 of a mile, and I thought I was needing a defibrillator. And over a period of 2 to 3 weeks of me persevering early mornings so nobody would see me, because I was body shamed. I was completely body shamed. I was out at 5:30 in the morning running with torchlights. I built myself up to 6 miles.
Unreal.
And I did a 5.7 mile leg of a marathon with my team.
Incredible.
And I went over that line with all of Belfast shouting my name. because I couldn't believe the people that knew me and supported us, and we, you know, as I have lost the weight, like, I mean, I'm a lot more mobile. My blood pressure has lowered by default. My testosterone and everything has leveled out. There's been a little bit of help with the doctors doing that. So medically, I am still obese, that's the truth, but I am feeling a million times better within my own body. I can move, I can run, I can climb stairs and not lose all my breath. I'm fit for a rip of work. Mentally, I think it's taken its toll, because I'm in a calorie deficit week on week, which is maybe the wrong thing I've done. But 8 stone is essentially 50 kilos.
It's a lady. It's a woman.
That's
the weight of a grown woman.
50 kilos has dropped, so it's making, and like, it's hard to put it into words, but it means so much. Like, I stand all day at a show in boots. I'm not like, I need to sit down, my feet.
Well, if you think about it, it's like 225 bags of calf meal.
All day, every day.
All day on your 2 shoulders. And people, sometimes when you say the weight, you literally have to see it to understand it. It's an absolutely incredible achievement. Look, as I said to you earlier, it's a life-changing amount of weight. And like, just for yourself, like, being 8 stone lighter, like, how was the overall, say, confidence and day? Because I know you're quite confident anyway. Do you think it has improved in any way, shape or form? I
think now people are talking, in general, people are referencing it and talking, I'm buzzing. Buzzing about it, and I do move different. I find myself standing different. I would have always hid at the back of a group photo, a team photo, coming from a show, and a couple of times this year I found myself. But by the way, this wasn't meant, but I found myself happy to be out front, and the amount of people that messaged me and said, a massive thing I noticed, you no longer hid at the back. I normally did it for 2 reasons. 1, to hide my belly, and 2, to push the team forward.
Yeah.
But sometimes the leader of the team should be out front.
Yeah.
And rightly or wrongly, I have noticed that. So there is a little bit more, and I think if I lose a little bit more, that'll get better. So that's a personal confidence.
100%.
But maybe as I've got lighter on a calorie deficit, my head still thinks I can do. Like, as a big lad, I still was able to get stuff done.
Yeah.
But it is so much easier now.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
It's life changing. I've probably saved my life, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, look, at the end of the day, like I said, I lost 8 stone. That was my whole weight loss journey. And it's like I was saying to you earlier, you were saying, oh, look, I still have a bit to go. Listen, you've lost an awful lot of weight, man, and that's the difference. And it's the small things like that. It's like you said, the things we overlook sometimes.
Yeah.
And other people notice it, like, and then you're like, jeez, they're right. And then you're like, good things are happening, so it's all positive. So look, Garrett, I talk to lads every day. I suppose mental health is probably the biggest worry for ourselves in terms of the farming industry, in terms of lads being isolated, not being able to talk, suffer in silence. You're at endless amount of shows all over the world, to be honest, in different areas. Like, have you seen the trend the same?
Absolutely. Agriculture is a very difficult industry. Farmers are, in economic terms, in perfect competition, which means they are price takers. They don't get to have any sway on the price, and the sway on the price is determined by the market, and ultimately the market is determined by the monopolies. When it's good, and when it's bad, it's bad.
Absolutely.
And farming works like a ratchet supply curve. So when the mood is bad and we travel around the shows, I spend all my time, but I have a rule on a GRASSMEN stand: no bad vibes on a GRASSMEN stand. We keep positivity, we keep happy, we keep driving on. And the amount of people that visit our stand that are maybe start to be doom and gloom, and you can see them leave with a little bit of a buzz. But 100%, farming's a very difficult industry because it feels like, and particularly in the UK, that the government is very anti-farming.
Yeah.
It's coming in more to Ireland as well. And when you're working and your government are taxing the life out of you, and they're making it more difficult for you to, you feel like you're not being appreciated for what it is you do. But again, we have to educate the farmers That's your government. We appreciate what you do. I appreciate the food that you create, that I put on my table. And if we can keep educating housewives and we can keep educating that we have first class product, first class, but we all have a lot of work to do there. Yeah. And sadly, we're not always going to change our government, but every so many years we get the chance to change our government. Yeah. And you know, I'm not a political kind of guy, but I brought in 2 tractors from a show, my own tractors, and due to new rules that the government allowed passed, I had to take them back to Scotland to get a certificate of cleanliness to bring them back in. And it's just when a logical thinking man, like a farmer is a mechanic, a farmer is a businessman, a farmer is a vet, a farmer is, he understands management, grassland management, cow management, and a farmer is a combination of so many things. And when you take a man, and a logical thinking, problem solving man like myself, and you confront him with absolute lunacy, it's hard to stay cool. And I made that little bit of a video and talked about it, and I just documented this is what I had to do to get my tractors back home from a show that I took out. So if that doesn't explain where our government, etc., is in terms of, but the reality is we have to stay strong. And we have to stay together as farmers and support each other, because we ain't got nobody else to do it for us.
100%. And it's like you said, all that red tape, as we all experience now more and more than ever, it just puts strain and stress on each individual, and that's what happens. And it just makes it harder to do the day-to-day things. Yeah. And it just affects everyone from a mental perspective, and that's what happens more than ever. Well,
look, everybody, I think we'll wrap it up now. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to chat to this man. It's there's difficult stuff we've talked about. Yeah. Grief, relationships, business, filling up the toolbox, and in the case of me, I should be running around so happy, but when you're feeling that little bit deflated, the low frequencies you talk about, and it's, you know, just working out how to focus past that and rest. I think for sure I need a little bit of rest.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a lot to do, and check this guy out on his socials. Look at some of the advice that he's given, and if you want to reach out to him, take it from there. That's your choice. But all I can say to everybody is, listen, it's okay to not be okay. We can't all be 1,000 miles an hour every single day, and for most of the guys that's following ourselves or whatever, we too often carry too many burdens and worries on our shoulders, and there's very few people we feel that we can talk to about these things. And if we can tool ourselves up a little bit, we can get the toolbox topped up. We understand that when a certain thing happens, do this, do that, ask yourself this, then maybe we can make it a little bit easier. And as we make it easier, we become better at it, and as we become better at it, the mind automatically is going to be stronger.
That's become second nature.
And without the mindset, we have nothing.
Yeah.
And I would say in my whole life, this has been the toughest journey that I've ever been on, is the personal weight journey, because I had testosterone issues. Yeah. I've had hormone balance completely changed in my body. I'm a different person to a year ago. As we're leveling out and stepping out of the fat suit, we're pulling the zipper down in the fat suit, and we're trying to step out of the fat suit. We're having to learn to love our new body. We're having to learn to not over-love ourselves, you know, and we're trying to channel all these energies in a different way.
Absolutely.
And it's how do I do that? Because then that's what happens. And it sounds like maybe we should be writing a few things down. Maybe we should be looking over it. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy we had this chat, forgetting about the cameras. But here, sir, thank you very much.
I really appreciate it.
Good man. I'm very sorry about your loss.
Thanks very much.
It's terrible, but look at him at the same token. The man has come through that there. He's a wee bit, you know what I mean? Like, I still think I'd have him in an arm wrestle.
I've no doubt.
He's scared to come up to the gym and do a proper old school session. Good man. Cheers.
Thanks, Gareth. Much appreciated.